All right, guys. Welcome to the first episode of the Karaoke podcast. My name's Alex. I'll be your host for today. And with us today, we have Ben Watson. How are you today, Ben?
Outstanding. And still getting better.
Ben. So, guys, we brought Ben on today we're going to have a little chat about a few things fighting related. In case you didn't know, Ben's a pro MMA fighter. He's been doing this quite a long time, and I've known him for quite a long time now, maybe 10 years almost? About 8-9 years, man. Been a long time. So me and Ben have been working together pretty much since day one. It's a long relationship and a lot of chats about fighting, no doubt. Why I brought Ben on today, because I've been having these little discussions in my head lately about what fighting really is and what makes a fighter. So what I wanted to do was kind of delve into Ben's past here, into what kind of got him into fighting, what brought him here, and hopefully share some pretty enjoyable stories with everyone. So I thought I want to basically start with the crux of the topic. What kind of draw you to this? Like, how do we end up here? Where does it all start?
Gotta go, like, it's a natural instinct, dude, to seek that one level edge of competition, and definitely started back being in that school environment, being around all, like, everyone's trying to, like, I guess, one up each other's ego.
Young boys and testosterone.
Hey. And it's just destined for classroom, man. Right? Or team sports.
Yeah.
All of your friends are sort of trying to get a little bit better than you.
Yeah.
And I think being in Australia as well, though, we're such a prolific, like outdoor sun. Like,
we're encouraged to do, like, athletic pursuits without a doubt, but we're also, like, Australians have this natural kind of toughness. Like, we're encouraged to be tough. It's okay to rumble. Like, if you have brothers, it's okay to wrestle. Like, there's nothing weird about it. Australians are supposed to be tough. We're supposed to be rugby players. You know what I mean? Like, we're supposed to be Anzacs.
Yeah.
But I found, like, school in particular, I loved it because you had a bunch of other young boys who were also, like, full of energy, like, aggressive. We had nothing better to do because classes were boring.
Yeah, classes were bullshit, bro. I just knew when 11 o'clock was that I could get out at 11 o'clock for 30 minutes of recess. And that meant, like, if I spent 1 minute looking around for my food, I missed 1 minute on the football field being competitive against the other boys. Like,
it's kind of like, you know how they say when you're in prison, people kind of get so muscular because it's such a high testosterone environment, and you got nothing better to do, right? Yeah,
it's basically forced.
Well, your natural test level's so high because of your environment. You're eating the same foods every day, so you've got your X amount of nutrition, and you're trying to train as often as possible. So you've got nothing better to do. You've got the high testosterone. You can sleep when you want, kind of train as you need. And that's why it fosters these big guys, right? And I think kind of if you look back at it in school, every single lunchtime, you're doing something so competitive. You know what I mean? Me and my friends would try to kill each other. So you fostered that natural competitiveness from a kid. And I don't know about you, but I had two brothers. So I would finish that at school. I would go home in the afternoon. We would play soccer, cricket, whatever it be, tennis. We'd try to beat each other there, and then I would go to training. So my whole day was just around being ultra competitive all the time as a kid. That was like my number one thing. It's
bang on the same thing, dude. And then I'd sort of like have these switch off moments where I had to sit down with the collar or like the done up buttons or something, waiting until to do it all over again. And it was consistently, I think only on a Wednesday would my parents like give me a break to go and play piano or trombone. You know what I mean? Like the other 5-6 days of the week,
I couldn't do that.
I had to have one day. You know what I mean? My mom's like a little bit civil.
How funny.
But all the other days was back to back sports. I'd carry 3 different bags sometimes to play tennis in the morning and then come and play footy in the afternoon.
Good point.
And like it was just consistently competitiveness for my growing up. And so
true.
I just saw it as a natural, like looking back on it now, it was a natural evolution for me. I'd never once was I like looking back going like, oh, there was this definitive moment where I said to myself, oh, I'm now wanting to fight. It was just this progression of always seeking, I guess, self-betterment.
Yeah, man. And you got to remember, like, for me, the reason why it culminated in fighting, because fighting is the ultimate form of competitiveness. There's nothing, you can't hide behind a team, you can't hide behind a racket or a defense or like a goal or whatever it be, right? It's just full one-on-one. I will beat you physically. There's it's, man, we are going head to head physically. All my speed, my power, my agility versus yours, my technique, my strategy, my mind, my will. It's the ultimate head to head. And I think we were discussing this before. I think why we ended up with MMA is because it's so unbridled. It's just every tool. Every time I box, I'm thinking like, I love boxing, but I'm always thinking, man, but what happens if he wrestled? What happens if he tackled me? What happens if he grabbed me in a headlock? How can you fight with so many restrictions and have that same level of competitiveness? MMA is the ultimate level of competitiveness.
Absolutely.
Man,
that rawest form.
Raw, it's just so raw.
Will this work against this
man.
exact thing? And what if this person brings that? And you have to refine those specific, your individual techniques as well against those things. You can't throw the cross like a specific boxer against a wrestler.
Absolutely. It's its own
yeah,
beast,
you have to change 100%. The way you set down in your stance, and
and
you find yourself taking little things from the fucking Shaolin monk warrior or like that was form, literally right? Any form. There's always that's I love MMA for that. And being a MMA athlete or professional MMA, I love that I can sort of everything for me is research. Climbing a rock wall, like getting out rock climbing on a Sunday afternoon or whatever. Like there's still forms of that I'm still taking away, being like, was that like good for me? Was that benefiting my life?
Human body awareness is MMA is that like endless pursuit of knowledge about your own body and how it works. Because in MMA, again, unlike more specified styles like boxing or even jiu-jitsu, your body ends up in so many different contexts. Not only your own, the complete control of your own body, but how your body impacts another human being's body. Man, every time you spar, every round is so different. You know what I mean? There's so many variables that you're on an endless pursuit to understand how your body behaves. Do you know what I mean? At this angle, at this degree, can I generate power from this position? You know what I mean? So many things I do, I end up subconsciously like relating, or even consciously, relating back to fighting and thinking, wow, like it's interesting that any pursuit I do, I'm like, oh, my body works this way. I'm strong when I hang, when I rock climb. Maybe that'll help me when I'm clinching and I'm pulling the head down. You know what I mean? My mind always counter-relates everything I do back to it. Oh, of
course.
It's funny, eh?
Yeah. And I'm always trying to, do something that does push me into that little, very rarely will I finish a day where I've been like, oh, did I succeed, or did I have a little bit of a struggle today? Well, I better have a cold shower then, just to get that body awareness back.
I'll throw that back to you then. It seems like there's not only this endless pursuit of like knowledge, like we discussed, but this endless pursuit of challenging yourself, of finding those, putting yourself in those situations where you're like, well, what am I really made of? What would I really do under this kind of pressure? Like, I think that competitiveness spreads out through a lot you do in your life, but I know you're a lot like me. You have that ache to need to test yourself all the time. I need it all. If I'm not competing in something at any given time, I'm sitting down getting very bored. Yeah, you're born from it, right? Yeah, man. Dude. Born from it. Like, obviously we grew up that way.
The fire doesn't diminish. It will always stay there.
Yeah, I believe so, man. And I think
just depends on where you put that energy. It will always be there.
Yeah, man, 100%. And even rewinding back to school, we were talking about this before, it's kind of funny, that I did so many organized fights when I was in high school, even to a point where I convinced a kid to train for a month to do a boxing fight at the local park. We built a makeshift ring, we put gloves on, and we went at it for, I think, like 7 rounds until he gave up.
Holy shit.
But it was that, there's nothing like that kind of thrill you get of a fight. There is that side of, okay, I'm a martial artist, and then there's that side of like, I have this thing inside me that needs that thrill. I need that, like, let's not know what's going to happen and let's see what I do and how I come out of this. Let's see what I make of this. You know what I mean?
Is it the uncertainty?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Surely you got to feel it. Like when you go out to a fight, there's, okay, I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm also kind of excited because I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, you have faith in yourself as well, right?
Yeah.
And that definitely goes stronger the more you develop your own skills.
And the more you come out on top in situations that you were very nervous about, the more you're like, well, wait a minute. Like, I've got something. Like, I can fight my way out of things. And you become more prone to put yourself in those situations. And the only way to develop that is by constantly testing yourself. It's like when you're training, if you only train with the people you know you can beat, as soon as you get put in deep waters in a fight, you crumble. Does that make sense? So it's that same thing where, like, if I'm sparring and I'm constantly beating the people I'm training with, I'm like, okay, who's the next guy? Who's that guy who's going to give it to me? I need to find him, and I need to overcome him now. He's the one that's going to put me in that I don't know zone again.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
I seek that as well, dude. What is this? You never want to be the best person in the room.
No.
And that if you are, then you're in the wrong room.
Yeah, you're in the wrong room, man.
You're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you're in the... I don't think that's... You can go elsewhere to find that. Like, you can definitely have your home ground and work with the people around you. But if you want to get better, you have to go out.
Yeah, and it's not having to be out there all the time, because like I was saying before, if you do too much outside, injuries just seem to go through the roof. Yep. You know what I mean? These people, you're not their teammate. They're not putting in the care for you. They're there to hurt you like you're there to hurt them.
Yeah. Are you doing this for research purposes or for a challenge?
Yeah.
There's two different areas. Are you working with the people or are you challenging those people?
Yeah, exactly, man. When I'm doing my research, I've got to be with people I'm safe with, because I've got to do...
That you work with?
Positions, I put myself in positions that I'm not good at. That's where I do my research. I'm not going to go do that against someone who wants to fuck me up.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I'm only going to play my A game. No. That's it. I'm only going to do what I'm best at. And if I'm always just doing what I'm best at, I'm not... That research phase is lost, right? Your home base for me is going to be 80% of my time, maybe more. And then that 20%, I just want guys to come at me. You know what I mean? Like, let's see what my best does against your best. You know what I mean?
This is my A game. Let's see how far I can push it.
Yeah, I think that's why you end up going towards fighting. I kind of know if I do something at state level, if I win state level, my mind goes to, okay, well, I have to do national level now. I have to. It's not enough. If I do national level, I'm like, okay, I got to go overseas. Like in January, I'm like, man, I got to go overseas now.
Right.
Like I know everyone nationally. Like I know who's good. That's it. I'm going there.
I'm booking the ticket.
I have to know. There has to always be that next level of challenge. That the competitiveness when you're going on a global setting is like, wow. And I think your career next year is where we're going to be looking at. Where's the challenge? You know what I mean? Where can you go? What can we find out there? It's going to push you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I think that's the thing, and it's exciting. And you get to know a lot about yourself in those settings, right?
Oh yeah. Where you're sort of like foreign. You are.
It's right.
It's
exactly
very
right.
foreign. You're sort of taking each day at a time. It's not your home ground advantage.
No, man.
You sort of have to figure out what food you're going to eat while you're in China.
Yeah, where you're going to stay, what are you going to do? It's that...
Pretty sure China doesn't have the same edible foods that I like to eat, so I'm going to have to make something up, just get by. But that's fighting in itself.
Yeah.
You don't have enough energy, but you're just going to get by. You're going to figure out how you're going to find a way. You're finding a way.
You're going to find a way. And
you're going to find a way.
That's it. And I think that mentality is the crux of combat. You know what I mean? Because it's so variable. Because I can sit down and I know that I'm gonna take you down. I'm gonna do this, and then you stuff every one of my takedowns, and I need to find a way to beat you. You know what I mean? Let's say I'm struggling with you on the feet. I'm struggling with you on takedowns, but I can pin you on the cage, and for the next 10 minutes, I can knee you and chip away at you with shots. I need to find a way to beat you. Right. I'm stuck in there. We're locked in a cage. Right. It's you or me, so it's gonna be me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not gonna let you get that pride over me.
Yeah.
So fuck you. I don't give a fuck if you're booing or some shit. If this means that I'm not gonna get injured and I'm gonna win this,
then you're getting against the cage for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, get fucked. Deal with the top of my head in the fucking under your chin.
Spot on, my friend.
Getting punched in the gut.
Mate, spot on. And again, that's that ultimate competitiveness. That is the rawest form of, let's say you have 6 ways to beat me. I have 4 or maybe less, and I'm going to find one of those ways and I'm going to beat you. You know what I mean?
I only need one, bro.
How many times do you step, and I'll talk to you about this as well because I think of fight in particular. You step in there and you're like, okay, well, this guy's better than me.
Yeah.
But I need to beat this guy because I'm not fucking losing this fight. I've had that a couple of times. I'll give you a story and example, and then I'll refer to one in yours. I had my first kickboxing fight when I got to Canada. So I got
foreign land.
Yeah. So it was actually awesome. It was a smoker. And what a smoker means is it's not a regulated fight. You show up to someone's gym.
Okay.
They get a crowd, they get food, everyone watches, and people fight. So how they match you is you just talk briefly with another coach. I'd never had a fight. This guy, we didn't know how many fights he'd had. We didn't know his weight. We didn't know anything. You just show up and fight. It's the best. So you fight in your own gloves. It's like you can put cement in your hand wraps. No one would know. You wear your own shin pads. No one's checking. You're there to fight.
Yeah.
We get in the ring. And I'm looking at this guy thinking, man, this guy looks the business.
Okay.
I don't. He looks the business.
Yeah.
First round starts, and he kicks the shit out of me. He opens by head kicking me. And we move around, he head kicks me again. And then the third one, I'm like, man, he's going to head kick. I'm going to lean back, and he's going to miss, but he kicks me straight in the face. I get a standing 8 count. I'm like, oh, shit. We're 30 seconds in. I've been head kicked 3 times.
First fight in as well.
Man. So I'm thinking, okay, man, I'm going to clinch this guy because I'm getting murdered on the feet. I clinch him. He throws me. I nearly go through the ropes. And I'm like, oh, man, this is going bad. So I pulled my headgear off, and I complained that it wasn't fitting right to waste time.
Oh, sneak.
Yeah, I ripped it off.
Found a way, bro. Found a way.
Bro. Found a way. I put the headgear back on. The ref made me put on. I went back to getting bashed. Fight ended. I sat down at my stool, and I remember my corner just looks at me, blank face. Didn't know what to say. They knew I was going to get murdered. They looked at me, and they were just like, hang in there, bro. And I was like, fuck. So
Thanks.
I was like, okay, I'm going to come back in the second round. I'm not going to kickbox anymore. It's not going to work. He's a better kickboxer than me. There's no question. I'm going to brawl.
Boxing.
I'm going to brawl.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to box. I'm just going to brawl. I made it such a dirty fight. I got so many warnings from the ref. You have no idea. But I was like, it's an unsanctioned fight. I'm going out on my shield. And for the next 2 rounds, just beat the shit out of him. Beat the piss out of him. And I remember I caught a kick, and I picked him up and I slammed him, and the whole crowd booed me, and I didn't give a fuck. I was like, fuck.
It's a little win for you, though, right?
I'm here to win.
Yeah.
I was like, man, because I knew if I got in the clinch, he was going to kill me. So as soon as he clinched me, I just picked him up and just slammed him. But I dove with him, and we both fell, like, bounced off the corner post into the ring, and everyone just shook their head and booed me, and I was like, I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it's a fight.
That's it. I had my 1 out of 10 to win, and that was it. The guy was too technical, but he couldn't brawl. When you got in his face, he broke down. He was just a front runner. And while he was winning, he was so confident. The crowd was cheering him. But when I got in his face, he just crumbled. And it was like, it reminded me of the fight you told me when you were in Thailand and you got dropped.
Yeah.
And that was the first fight I thought of when I thought that story. So I wanted if you can run everyone past that story and how it happened. Even the background, the setup, just give me the whole kind of story behind that.
All right. Yeah, man. Look, dude, that to me was one of the most confronting moments of my young man's life.
How old were you at the time?
20. Coming on to 21. That was my second fight in Thailand. So I was training up in a nice local town called Pai, and we drive down to Chiang Mai to fight every now and again. The gym would bring fighters down to the local stadium in Chiang Mai, and dude, yeah, this fight was it was amazing because you stand in a line and it's basically a smoker. They just pick opponents out for you on size, dude. Like
You're fighting him?
Yeah. I'm the only white guy in like the whole line.
Yeah, man.
And so I'm already feeling nervous as fuck. Like, do I put on a serious face now? Man. Do I look intimidating? Like, I'm skinny and gangly. I'm sure I don't look intimidating.
Small, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So they finally put you down with an opponent. I wasn't intimidated or anything. And so my first Muay Thai fight over in Thailand, I rushed it because I was definitely way too nervous. So the Thai people started speaking to me and explaining to me that the way that the Thai fighting works, you warm up in the first round and you start to dominate in the second. The third round, you start to the winner starts to take charge. The fourth round, they might come back, but you've got to keep implementing your will. And then the fifth round lets them have one more go, but you sort of just dance it out. So I went into this second fight with way more idea on how to fight Muay Thai. And so I did that. I approached it way differently and a lot more calmer, teeping. We're having a good little sparring session basically, and then my white man attitude, I think though, of like I must show that I'm winning or something like this, leads into me throwing a 4-punch combination, and in before I land the 4th punch, he lands me a left hook and catches me and puts me through the ropes.
Shit.
Bro, yeah, heavy. So I'm getting up from the floor.
First time you'd been dropped, by the way?
First time I've been dropped, and I went into the ropes. Like, you're right? Like, you just hold up by the ropes. Like, I'm still awake. Stand back up. I hear the clappers. And I'm like, all right, cool. There's only 8 seconds left. Let's just clinch and get back to the corner, and we'll assess it. Doesn't matter. I don't mind being the second runner. I'll come back and win this. And I put my hands up, and the guy front kicks me underneath the jaw and snaps my head back so far that my tongue splits open.
Splits open
down the inside of my tongue.
Mouth filled with blood?
Filled with blood. Lovely. So much so that when I fall into the clinch with the last 3-4 seconds left, there's just this dark red stream down his chest, bro, and I was like, that's a little bit different, eh? I wasn't ready for this. I'm in a fight, right?
No question.
I sit down in my corner, and my Thai trainer's yelling a few English words at me, you know, like mostly all of his other English words was harder, more, and 20 seconds left on the timer. That was about it before that, right? And so I can't remember what he was saying, but I remember standing up, and for me it was this time of like I definitely stepped out of my comfort zone going into Thailand, and it was this big accumulation of like, do you fucking want this, man? Like,
big time.
And I had this really big, probably 1 second, but it felt like eternity for me, where I asked that question, and it was in between the round, like when we're standing up about to start round 2, it's like, do you want this? You fucking you asked.
Look into your soul kind of moment. I know who I really am in this moment. Right.
Like and are you going to fucking step up?
Yep.
And the next round was difficult because he was a little bit on the front foot. I didn't cop as bad a beating. Like, the tongue was as bad as it got, like, as blood-wise and stuff like that. Ended up surviving that round and accumulating a little bit more of an offense in the third, where I started clinching him a little bit more and working that, which is weird against Thai people to be able.
But you had the hype from memory when I rewatched the fight video.
I did.
Because you were so skinny, but when you were young, man, you were wiry.
Wiry as fuck. I'm a 64 kilo wiry, 6 foot tall guy. You know, I'm tall, man. And finally, he traded knee to the belly, and I brought one up to his chin, and that was it, man. But it was a lovely little pull down at the same time. Like, it was pull the head down as the knee came up.
Which what you're best at.
It was over, man. It was a very surreal thing to then go sit back down at the end and be like, wow, I made that through.
Well, that's the question. So what was that immediate sensation when you knew the fight was over and you had kind of not overcome it, but you had achieved what you put your mind immediately to do? You know what I mean? What was that immediate sensation like?
Immediate sensation, like, I don't want to say out of body, hey, because I was definitely still present, but it was electrifying. It is. Like, there was a weird feeling, like, there was definitely Aussies in the stadium. They were all, Aussie and all this. But it did make me have more questions as well, because I didn't think it was going to be easy, but I didn't think I'd ever have to ask myself that. I'd never had that confrontingness before of being alone and only like realizing that the pack, I'm on my own right now. There's no one else fucking coming in to save it, and it definitely helped me grow from that and realize, like, all right, fuck yeah, I can do some shit. I can deal with some bullshit, man. Like, dealt with some shit in the past, but like,
that's different. It's so intimate, right?
Different, man.
So intimate. It's so.
He's still trying to hurt you, and you're sort of already in pain. Like,
man.
And he's a skilled fighter. Like, he isn't just a bum, bro. He knows how to hurt you.
He just put you through the ropes 10 minutes ago.
Literally picking myself up on the ground, bro.
Man, it's a weird feeling first time you get dropped, but
hell yeah.
You know, It's funny. I'm talking to this a lot about when the fighters go for their first fight.
Mm-hmm.
That when you're in a fight, your mind and your body can split, and your body says one thing and your mind has to talk to it, right? So your body can say to your mind, I'm exhausted, stop, please. Like, I'm so tired, I can't get up. Your mind's going, no, you're getting up.
It tells you that.
We're going to win this fight, you're getting up. And you have this internal monologue with yourself the whole fight. And it's funny, when you sit in the corner, you have that moment where your body's just raging all these signals at you of like, my shin hurts, my elbow hurts, I'm overheating, I'm tired. Like, this is in those fights that are real hard. And that's where the voice that speaks back to your body is your true self. You can't lie in that moment.
Right.
There's no fakeness in fighting. It's so raw. When you have that talk to yourself, when you're losing a fight, or when you're getting smashed, or when you're exhausted, that's when whatever's real inside you is the voice that's talking in that moment. That's when you know who you are. And I think some people, I've coached a few fighters now that have had that first fight. They've gone to that moment of break and responded different ways. Some have never fought again, and you would know who they are. And then others have come back and thought, no, I'm going to redeem that. That's not who I am. And Kalen was one of those.
Okay.
His first fight, he mentally broke and he admitted
this
it.
Is big time.
And then he came and won the next 4 straight. And he said to himself, no, that's not who I am. I'm going to come back and be different.
Just to highlight that point.
Yeah.
It's the admittance. It's accepting what you were there and accepting that and saying, well, I don't have to be that.
No.
I can create this. And so some people let that fear close the door. Whereas
Exactly.
you can let that and push yourself open. And
exactly.
Like I love that voice as much as that I had in my second fight in Thailand. I wish I had an ability to ask that voice or ask that inner monologue of myself more. Just all right, am I doing the right thing right now? It's a Wednesday afternoon, I'm exhausted. Like, sometimes that voice is super important to just to know yourself and check
100%.
yourself on.
You know what I find though? In my day-to-day life, I find that voice gets cluttered by all the other opinions in my mind.
Cluttered.
Like, oh, do I need to train now? Oh, you trained enough. Or you should eat a little more. Or maybe you should rest and train later. And it's this internal argument. But when I'm fighting, there's one voice. One guy commands me. Am I going to do this or am I not? There's no conflict. My mind is so raw and true in that moment. You know what I mean? And like I said, you're gonna know exactly who you are after one of those fights where you're getting bashed and you come back. You're gonna know exactly who you are. And I think to rewind it back to our initial point here, I believe some people just have that ingrained in them and some people don't. And I feel like fighters in general, ones that are gonna make a living fighting, have that truth and that rawness in them. They kind of know a bit more about who they are. Because you can't lie and get through. You're going to get exposed. It's what fighting is. You get put in those moments of truth. And so many people want to compete, and I'm happy for them to have the fight. It's a great experience. You're going to learn so much about yourself. But if you want to be a fighter, like an actual fighter, and go against these people that are born and bred tough as nails and train their whole life, man, you better know who you are.
Right.
Because God forbid you find out against one of those like Kazakhstani wrestlers.
Like you got to find halfway through, you know what I mean?
You don't want to be finding it out halfway through that fight. Or, you know what I mean? You can't, right?
You're meant to be doing these things with your team, your home ground.
Yeah.
You're meant to have those awakening moments when you're doing your homework, when you're doing your research and just doing drills at 60%, and you're just spending that time. There's the time for the questions, and I have well, I'm sure people struggle with like performance anxiety and stuff like that when it gets to the big lights under the UFC and stuff like that. I think that comes from not answering those questions back home, the important questions, like the reality of, bro, do I have a fucking answer to everything? And you
sort that out well before you get to the fight. You're right.
Yeah.
You sort that out well before you get to the fight. That's something you've ingrained in yourself through the correct training. You've reinforced and bolstered your mentality towards adversity, towards problem solving, towards nerves. You know what I mean? You've visualized that moment of nerves in the dressing room of walking out so many times. You're like, no, I'm prepared for this.
Ooh,
If that's all done back home, you couldn't be more correct. You cannot. That stuff can't work out on the night.
Big time. And that I'm showing up to now fucking demonstrate my fucking skills.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And if you have to dig deep, it's because you've built the store back home. You can't. You've
and
built
it's a
the
formidable
fitness.
opponent.
Yeah, man. 100%. I think if you had to explain in terms of that truthfulness of your being, you really learn a lot about yourself in fight week. Some of the thoughts that go through your head in fight week are just so tormenting. I tell my fighters every time I get in the car on the way to the venue, every single time, and when I'm in the dressing room, I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I fighting? That's all I say to myself. Like, how did I get myself into this again? I go, we had this conversation last time you fought Alex, but like 30 fights later, I'll just still do it again. But you have those moments where your mind saying to you, don't go towards perceived danger. We know you're going to go get hurt. Stop it. Go away. You don't want this. You don't want this.
That's a natural DNA trait that stopped us from climbing too big of things. Fear of height.
And not dying.
Fear of height, right?
Thank you.
Like, there's a reason I get sweaty palms when I'm on a rock wall, because I'm not meant to be there, dude. I'm fucking scared of heights.
I know.
But my psyche is always under the impression that nerves don't break down, that people do it to themselves.
Yeah.
So if I'm nervous, good, because my nerves are fucking alive. Like,
man.
My nerves aren't gonna break down though. I'm the control of that.
That's
so
it.
I fucking live that, man. That fight week is some
weird shit, eh?
Yeah, it's one of my most loved but hated because I truthfully love fighting because I love to train.
Yep.
The training side for me is my passion. I've always wanted to be an athlete, and I've built up to that now. 8.5, almost 9 years into that, and basically now it's come to the point that like you got to get used to those bloody down times of like
Spot on.
Like where I'm resting so that I can perform.
Yep.
There's a reason why I'm going to sleep right now, so I can perform tomorrow. Like those down times are needed, man. And I use I've recently picked up the pen and paper with it now. To jot down. Okay, so come Tuesday when I'm like, I fucking want to train, but it's fight week and I can't. Well, put down what you want to train.
Yeah.
Write down what you like, and I put that down and like make sure that I go back later and I'm like, hey,
but at least it gets the thought a bit out of your head. You're not sitting with it in your head all day and just
with it is
obsessing
hard,
with it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like when you think of all the stuff you got to do tomorrow, you can get so anxious. But when you write it down, you're like, it's off me now.
Yeah.
I can relax. And fight week, I need to be relaxing. How do you find though? And I've always found this fascinating to see how everyone deals with it. And when I have new fighters, I always talk to them about this. In fight week, even like I said, the day of the fight for me when I'm driving out there, you have that moment of weakness where you're just like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not ready for this. I'm not going to win this. This guy's going to fucking bash me.
Yeah.
And how do you... I've developed a process over time for dealing with that, but what's your process when that thought sinks in like, I'm going to get murdered? Everyone has it. There's no one who doesn't.
My skinny white ass gets that a fucking lot, bro. Man, my fucking family would be telling me that a lot as well. You too skinny for this shit, bro. Fucking my friends are like, hey, you're just skinny. You don't even have muscle, bro. What are you gonna do to these motherfuckers? Hey, but
How do you process it? How do you deal with it? The moments of those moments when you have that complete moment of, oh my god, I might not win this.
Oh man, that's a tough one. Because okay, I accept it. I've accepted my losses. I'd love to accept it and just move on from that. Like I have family that loves me and a team that no matter what result, like we're still going to be happy and healthy.
More breaking down your fear of the result.
Oh,
Is
absolutely.
that the kind of strategy?
Yeah, and moving past it. Like that result isn't the be all and end all. Did I show up and was I able to perform at my fullest and capability? That to me is like so risk of injury ends up becoming more of a scared point. But that's leading into it. Like if I have my left shoulder popped out 2 weeks before this coming up fight, will I be able to use my left hand? That's more scary to me because if I know if I've got my four limbs, my head strung on and everything's good,
especially if your prep's done.
Yes.
especially if your prep's done and it's gone the way you wanted and you controlled it the correct way, you did the right rounds, you have that embedded confidence to fall back on. So you don't have to say, am I ready for this? Because you can look back on your body of work and think, well, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I've done quite some shit to be here.
Yeah, I got 2 limbs, 2 legs, 2 arms. Like, I'll be able to use them to my capability. But definitely one thing that the homework, that's 60% where you're just I run through bad situations in my head a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. I see myself, so in my envisioning and my visualization, I picture myself with my 2 hands up, celebrating the win and moving around the cage like I want, but I also picture myself getting out of very bad situations.
Good.
A lot of that is it's definitely picture myself like, and in my last fight, I was on the back foot for about a minute and a half where I was not in the not looking like I was winning that fight, right? The finish was
there. The finish for him was there. The brink
could have taken it, bro.
Oh, 100%.
But I just, not that specific, like that specific area of getting flattened out. I truthfully hadn't pictured myself ever getting there in MMA.
Nah.
He flattened me out, bro. Like
bleeding your face. No.
Crossed the top eye, flattened out like a frog with no legs, bro.
Visualizing that.
Nah, man. I hadn't visualized that, but I'd visualized myself being in that down, exhausted position. And working my way out of that. Okay. I definitely seen myself being on the back foot a lot, and
can I ask you a question off that?
Back from that?
So for those of you who haven't seen Ben's last fight, so basically Ben essentially did incredibly well for the first 3.5 minutes. He locked in a Kimura with probably almost a minute to go. We all thought he had the Kimura. He held on to it till he almost got mounted, but he gave up a very bad position trying to finish it. He went to switch his grips to finish it. He lost it and then went into survival mode and got stuck on the bottom. Now, the mats I've fought on there recently were a little slippery. You tried to get up onto your knees. You got flattened out almost immediately. And then after a few big punches, his arm went under your neck for a choke, right? With maybe like half a second in it, you spun, you took a gamble, you spun, you got out of the choke, you survived
the wrong way, actually, if you look
the wrong way, you turned into the choke, and it was phenomenal. It worked. But my question to you now, I remember sitting down on the store with you, we had a good little chat, but you started the second round by doing the opposite to what everyone thought you would do. Now, everyone thought you would come into second round thinking, oh shit, this guy's good. You did the opposite. You put your hands up like, this is my fight. This is my round. I'm coming for you. And it was the craziest thing for you to come back from the worst spot you could be in a fight, the brink of the end of the fight, the brink of the loss, to come back and be hyper confident. Like, no, I'm bringing it to you now. So what was going through your head when you started that second round?
Oh,
man, that's competitiveness.
There you go, right? Yeah. It's a little bit ingrained in you, isn't it? Coming into thinking? Look, dude, coming back and seeing yourself back in that corner, man, and the way that we always. Like, we're deep into this now, man. That was what, our eighth professional fight. Eighth
professional. We've done maybe 4 amateurs, 5 amateurs or something. A lot. We've done plenty of
bottom line is sitting down, and as soon as we get that breath happening and I hear your voice and we're all composed in the corner, and you gave me directions. With those directions, I felt supremely confident already. But then, truthfully, man... I'm going out on my shield, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sitting down and fucking getting, like, someone passing me by.
No.
And, like, here's another ticker. Not to fucking throw fire at my opponent and everything like that, because he was a valiant opponent. He brought the game and all of that. But he had to work. I made him, even though he was on top for that first round, I made him work. And I threw up subs, and he was constantly working. He almost had the finish. And with the last 10 seconds in the round, all I could hear was his heavy breathing. And funny enough, I'm sure if we get Vanakas would know it, but as we're getting up, I'm yelling at my opponent like, if that's the best you've got, I'm still here, mate. Because I could feel that his pressure was like releasing a little bit. So and I'm in it to the end, man. So I had no doubt when I was sitting down on that when I was coming back, bleeding across my face and stuff like that, I hadn't even spoken to you yet. All I knew was I needed to get my breathing in. Once I get my breathing good, I'll hear a few directional ideas from you.
Yeah.
And we'll go back to work.
Can I add something to that? And I think
because it is work for me, man. Like I know I'm hunting for that finish. I'm there like a lion, ready to fucking eat, man.
I think what happened with you, from what I saw, is your mind went to, okay, I've been to the depths of despair, and I'm comfortable there. Yeah. So I'm good. If that's as far as that, as deep as you can take me, we're good to go. I'm good. I can survive that. And I think you proved that to yourself when you escaped. But
I wasn't fearing it a whole nother round. I would have done it a whole nother one.
Yeah, or maybe 4 if you had to win that.
Yeah, and then still find that Anderson Silverchair Sonnen
submission at the end, right?
I would have, man. Like, that's the truth. And that was in my head. Like, standing up with the hands up towards the second, before the start of the second round, when I put my hands up and the crowd starts cheering it up, like, that was literally it, man. Like, I know I will go one step further than my opponent right now.
That's it.
I have that confidence, man, in myself, that I will push that extra 10 kilometers on my bike. I will try and outrun my friend.
That's it, man. Yeah. That's fucking it. Just to give you, the guys listening, a bit of background on what happened in between those rounds. I think it's kind of important. So as a coach, I thought we almost finished the fight with 2 subs, an armbar and a Kimura, but like it was a
guillotine as well. 3. We almost got guillotine.
So it wasn't like he was almost gonna tap, but they were on, man. Like it was could have turned into something, but he was really good, man. He just got out of everything. But we get back to the end of the first round. I'm running in with the stool, and I'm thinking, man, I was actually saying, if you listen to the video, when he had that hand around your neck, I'm like, it's done. It's done. Right. You can't. He had full bicep, hand bind, everything was connected. It was done. We got into the cage, and my mind went to, okay, first thing I got to do is assess where Ben's at. You sat down, and you had a cut from the middle of your eyebrow to the outside. You were split open bad. We didn't know at the time you had a fractured skull.
Hey,
and I'm thinking, man, okay, I sit down, I look at Ben, and Ben, you're not acting like it at all. Hey. You're not talking about the cut. You're not talking about the pain in your face. There's no acknowledgement of trouble.
There's a task at hand.
Exactly.
And I know you're going to fucking tell me where and what we need to do to get that fucking...
And when I got in the cage, the first thing I said is, don't show Ben any sign of weakness. Tell him right away, no, we're still on track to win this. Man. No, it's a speed hump. You overcame it. It's behind us now.
I definitely vibed on that.
That's it. You overcame it. You showed me everything I needed to see in the first round. The problem was the strategy.
Right.
Holding on to subs on the bottom and giving up position. So we changed the strategy to hold the sub and use it to stand.
Stand and get up.
And he ended up standing up into the guillotine, which ended up being the thing. But I think knowing that, okay, the first round, the strategy, it worked, but it didn't work because we didn't get to finish.
Yeah.
So it worked for 3.5 minutes, and then it backfired.
Sure.
So knowing that we're like, okay, it's fine. Put it aside. Yeah. This is the strategy now. And I looked at you, we're going to win. Now, even worse, as soon as we finished, we walk out of the cage, and Craig, who was the cut man, turns to me and goes, he has 30 seconds in him tops until the fight is off. So I looked at you through the cage, and I was like,
bro,
Ben.
He was holding the cut when the referee comes over and he goes, how big's that? That was a big cut. Craig holds the cut, turns to him in the video, and he goes, nah, it's fine. But if he'd fucking removed that finger and made the referee look at it, it could have been another story.
It could have been done right then and there. That was blood in the eyes. Bro. That was the cut where you don't want it in the soft part on the eyebrow. That was it. And when Craig told me he's got 30 seconds in that tops, I remember looking at you through the cage and saying, Ben, end this.
Yeah.
And you put your hands up to the crowd, you got this big G up, and then you went and ended it literally 30 seconds later.
Hey, literally, 29 on the dot.
Yeah, 29 on the dot. And I just think that, like, there's a difference with a fighter who can be in that scenario, be given an objective and irrelevant of their current position and their current state and their current impact on their health, can just say, that's my method to victory. I'm going to find it. And I think you find that with finishers. People that naturally finish fights. And if you look at your 7 wins, you've got 6 by stoppage, which really should be 7. We all know that. Let's not get into that story, but in my mind, it's 7 fights, 7 finishes.
I'm on board.
There's a different mentality of a finisher that sees the finish line and doesn't add in the what happens if it doesn't work, or what happens if I go for that guillotine, he gets on top. To see the guillotine and go, I will grab it and I will finish it. That's a different mentality.
Yeah.
It is. Not everyone has that, and you know that from fighting.
So if looking at it from an hour's different perspective, it's like, reliant. If that guillotine doesn't work, it's gonna allow me to get to something else.
Yeah.
It opens
if I
up
go
different
for it like I
things.
want to finish it, not if I go for it half-assed, like I don't know if this is going to work.
I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
And when I take that, that's going to wind into something next that I can take. Because when I take it, they have to defend it at 100%. If they don't,
they gotta commit.
I'm fucking taking that, bro.
Exactly.
I'll take that home with me.
They have to commit.
So when they show their defense, that will add something next for me to take.
And it sparks your confidence, and it drives theirs down when they go to, oh my God, this guy's trying to finish me.
Right.
You know what I mean? That guy was going for that choke to finish me. You know what I mean? It adds that anxiety to you. When someone throws a shot and you like evade it, but you see that it was to take your head off, you're like, oh, okay, all
I
right.
better not get close to that anymore.
Close to that right
Yeah,
hand.
yeah.
It does.
Oh yeah.
And I think at those key moments,
Right.
you have to enter that fight where you know that if you see the finishing moment, you will snap to it without a second hesitation. If you don't have that perfect connection between opportunity and reaction, you're not a finisher. And some guys have it and some guys don't. Like if you look at one of my first white belt comps, I hit those 2 flying arm bars.
Right.
I watched it the night before on YouTube. I'd never been taught it. I saw it and I jumped. I didn't, will this work? Will I land on my head? I just learnt this last night on YouTube. I grabbed his collar, I grabbed his sleeve. I saw him stretch his arm. I was like, go. And I hit it. I hit it twice.
Yeah.
But that's the same with you. When you see it, you go.
Yes.
You do not second guess. When you're in your zone, when you see it, you go. When you see the knockout, you go. When you see the sub, you go. That's some people have that and some people don't. It's that simple. Some people get finishes as a result of putting in 2 or 3 rounds of good work. Exactly. And the guy's just falling down. The guy gives up his neck and then they sub him. That's different.
Right.
That's different. But there's other guys who in the scramble grab the neck and finish.
Hey.
That's a rarer breed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those guys who just pull that sub out of like nowhere.
Looking for the waiting for that little opportunity to arise, and I only need one opportunity. I only need one opportunity.
That's it. And I'm not saying that's the best style of fighting.
No.
They all work, but just fighters are built differently. They're wired differently. And you always know with your style that even if I'm down 4.5 rounds and I have half round to go, I always have that ability to find that finish. And that's got to have a confidence in you. That's got to give you that I'll find a way.
Yeah.
It has to.
Definitely,
you know what I mean?
Man. Definitely. And I think it comes from as well with the body awareness that we were talking about before, that like little areas that we were climbing a rock wall or something like that just having those little tweaks here and there give you that faith that you believe in yourself.
Yeah, what I'm made of, know, right?
Yeah. And you'll put yourself out there on that line. Like you'll jump for the flying armbar. Yeah. Because you'll figure yourself out from the position on the back from there. Like I sort of know I've got a few submissions from there or how to get out and maybe sweep them.
But I'll figure it out.
Bottom line is I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. Yeah.
I'll figure it out. So I'll jump for it, and I'm not going to jump for it half-assingly with 1 foot on the fucking ground.
But you're right. That's built in the training room, and it's not that. It's not that if you watch us training in the training room that we're throwing up finishes all the time, that we're just like trying to finish everything. It doesn't work like that. It's building the skill base off my back so I can throw the flying arm bar and land on my back. You know what I mean? It's not just you're very right. By the time you arrive, I have it in my mind that if this goes anywhere, I'll work it out. I've been everywhere in training camp.
Comfortable here.
You know what I mean? Because I've been to the unknown. I've had that guy who's a really good wrestler keep taking me down training. I've had that guy with the best triangle put me in that triangle, me sitting there for a minute going, okay, if I can get out of his triangle, I'm getting out of this dude's triangle. I remember, you know when sometimes like I did my first open weight comp, I did the black brown division.
Okay, what?
It was a shit first comp to start, but I did. And I remember I versed the dude who won the under 97 division. I competed in the under 79 at the time. He went to take my back, and I just laughed to myself, and I thought, man, if my coach struggles to take my back, this guy ain't taking my back. And it's that I've been here.
Right.
I know what you're going to do. I'm good here. I know my back defense is good. And I didn't care. I remember he went to take my back because I rolled for a knee bar. But I rolled for the knee bar knowing that I was like, no. My back defense it's going to be okay if he goes for it. You know what I mean? And you really do build that in the training room. Oh, absolutely, man. That's why you got to be putting yourself against guys who are taking your back. Yeah. If you're not training with guys who are continuously taking your back, trying to take your back, then how are you going to have that confidence?
You're not also just training, just grabbing subs.
Yeah.
Like you can't just, like, a lot of the time in the training room, submissions on ankle locks or wrist, like sometimes you'll tap out to it
Yep.
purely because you like don't want to get injured and you want to continue
Yep.
training and you want to be a good training partner.
Yep.
So you have to find that like ability for where you're comfortable in those positions. All right, it doesn't matter what else has he got from here. Like see what he's going to do. And I know that sometimes when I'm in training room, I'll put limitations on myself.
Yeah.
Like, all right, cool. I'm not gonna grab the guillotines today.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Yep.
I'm just gonna use my left arm with the guillotines. Little limitations like that will.
Or I'm going to start under mount against this guy who I know is heavier than me.
Dude, when I heard Hickson was doing that back in the day, that was one of the first things I went and fucking did straight away. I was like, are you kidding me?
Now, we've always done that for your fights.
Sign me up.
We've always done that
was
for your
me,
fights, man.
Put myself in bad positions so I feel comfortable when I get there. And when I'm comfortable, man, I'm in a laughing mood and I'm going to come out on top, no doubt.
You're right that you find a home in the discomfort. Yeah. And when you find a home in the discomfort, the confidence of that is amazing.
Ooh, yeah.
It absolutely is amazing. I find that every time you get those guys who are the best in the gym and they get uncomfortable, especially guys that like are really, say, slick or technical, and you get a little rough with them and they get a little like discombobulated, you know what I mean? You got to wonder, it happens sometimes when you get to a high level of any sport. And I was explaining this to you, I have this problem as a coach when I train in my own gym. You get too much respect. If you're getting paid as a sparring partner, you're not going there to fucking knock the champ out. You're not going to be that dickhead, you know what I mean? And so the guy gets this perception of what he can and can't do. And then then you fight someone who doesn't give a shit that you're the champ. He wants to knock your teeth out. You're like, man, no one in training's giving me this kind of disrespect or this kind of challenge of getting in my face or talking to me at the weigh-ins like I'm a fucking, you know what I mean? Like I'm nobody. And it's a bit confronting. That's why I like that sparring outwards. I like that putting myself against those guys who don't know me and don't give a shit who I am. You know what I mean? Because that's where I'm going to find that comfort in the discomfort. I find my home in that discomfort. Lovely. I have to be there regularly to feel at home there. If I haven't been there often, it's not my home. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's really what it is. You have to set up your mental state in that area, right?
Oh yeah, dude. Like you got to find comfort in exhaustion. Yeah, one thing I like.
100%.
When I get Muhammad Ali has the one. He's like, I only start counting my sit-ups when I hurt, right? Yeah. And similar thing, the warm up. So whenever I'm training on my bike or my run, swim, the warm up doesn't count. Like get the warm up done, and then once I start the timer now. Like,
yeah, man, it's time to work.
Yeah. Hey,
yeah, because the fight's gonna be, some fights are just that 15 minutes or 25 minutes of work from the bell. From the bell, we're working. There's no warm up, man.
Khabib's gonna give you a fucking second to breathe.
No, exactly.
The second is you standing up.
Exactly,
that's
man.
all you get.
I just remember, man, sometimes by the time we get to the fight, particularly my last one,
I'd
been in so many like fuck this situations that I was like, man, I can't imagine this fight's gonna be worse. And when like I was getting shark tanked, I was like 30 minutes into rotating opponents. I'm in a body triangle from the back getting punched. And I'm just like, it doesn't get worse than this. And I'm just holding on to one wrist, hiding my head, copping shots, just being like, I'll get out of this. I don't know how yet, but I'll get out of this. And when you're in there in your fight camp, you got to know that, okay, if I'm comfortable here, if I'm stressing out there in camp, you know what I mean? I've noticed that's when you can kind of tell when someone's not ready. You put them in their first shark tank and they mentally crumble, and you're like, man, the fight's going to be worse than a shark tank.
Yeah.
Shark tank's hard, but like a fight's harder. A fight is harder.
Yeah.
Simple, right? Not all fights, but those fights I'm talking about, they're harder. They're the ones you train for.
Yeah.
If you win early or easy, great, but you go there for that fight that you're scared of. That's the one you prep for. The fight that you imagine will be the hardest possible fight you're going to experience.
Like it's great to get the easy one, but why are you pushing yourself?
Yeah, man. If I'm training for that easy one, God forbid when it comes to the hard one.
Fuck, man. Like, you don't think McGregor was like, oh, I'm just going to knock out Aldo with the left. No, he was ready for everything, dude.
But it just happened that in 13 seconds it was done, right?
And
100%, man. And I think there's still, you can be very satisfying being prepped for the worst, but have like you've had a 6-second guillotine,
Right.
but you were prepped to do 25 minutes of action.
Hey.
But there's also a certain joy of knowing that I just I've killed it.
It's sort of enjoyable getting out back and telling Alex to put the mitts back on because we need to hit some shit.
Man.
Yeah,
I think you went for a run that night. You sparred with me the next morning.
Yeah, we did actually, and I got my ass beaten. My adrenaline was shot. I just remember taking shots. Alex had a fight coming up. I was just ready, like, it's all for the team. Alex was churning through everybody. Yeah, wow.
Oh, shit.
I'd smashed a whole box of Krispy Kremes. I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Far out.
That was funny, man.
Yeah, man. But it's, God, it.
But that's the love for training as well.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, the fight isn't everything for me. The accumulation of the fight, it's a tough thing that it's tougher than Tough Mudder. Fuck your marathon. Fuck that
which
off.
you also do too, which is an interesting point. Yeah. So while we're saying fuck the marathon, I've got to look at this, that if you look at yourself as a competitive individual, you do fucking marathons and shit. Jesus. Yeah. Like if you want to find the depths of your mind and who you are, go do a marathon and get over that 30K point in a run and look at yourself and be like, who am I? Right, what do I do when everything aches? Do I keep going? You know what I mean? Like tell me how
nothing other than a breath.
The two link, right? Yeah. And I remember you explaining to me like stuff's so hurting. I actually run like a little different, like a little on my heels or a little to the right side to take some of the stress off for the next half an hour I'm running on my heels. Like explain to me that internal monologue and why you're so drawn to putting yourself in those so real and raw and like hard moments. Like what draws you to it?
Awesome, dude. Awesome. I thinking about and bringing it full circle, I think it might come back to trying to seek for that voice that I had in that Thailand fight, maybe.
Yeah, man.
Like to get into that area of it, but it's a difficult thing, man.
But why are you drawn to it? Why do you do it?
Why am I drawn to it?
Why do you do it so much? I want to know, man.
I constantly do it as well.
Hey,
I don't know. I think it's in me, man. I think it's definitely in me. Like I was doing triathlons when I was a Weet-Bix kid triathlon, 10 years old. We're doing triathlons and all of that. My parents are crazy fit as well, and like they just love doing that as well. Okay. We're always outdoors, so. And it's another fit, challenge. Ben, but
a marathon, bro. I mean, I'm in great shape. I ain't running a marathon. Like, tell me why the marathon? Why is it always got to be the big race?
Right. Hey, literally just because it's something that I can put my mind to. I think it just gives me something to work towards. Like my favorite is the triathlon. For me, triathlons are more difficult than marathons as well because you find your rhythm in the swim. You get out of that, and then you got to change your whole muscular or everything changes onto the bike, and then you drain yourself on the bike because you're only using your legs now. Yeah. And then you got to get off a bike, which is a fixed sitting, and now you try and stretch your legs out for a run.
Motion, right?
And you got to get moving again. Yeah. And for me, that's way more fun than a marathon. I fucking hate marathons because you're left by yourself. You have that a lot more like internal monologue whereas when you're on the triathlons, you sort of have to, a little bit like a fight, you've got to adjust and you constantly are changing. You constantly are changing those. All right, cool. Fucking, it's a hill now. I'll put the effort in.
So the race itself becomes your opponent.
It's a bit more fun. The race is more fun. Like it's more engaging, the race with triathlons. Marathons, I can't support that, man.
That's a lot of running.
That to me is just something that I'll do maybe once or twice a year, just to push myself. Yep. Just so I know physically that I fear being out of energy, even in the training rooms, not being able to demonstrate or being top dog. No, bullshit that. Just being like mediocre in the training room, man. I want to be that higher echelon motherfucker.
Can I ask you a question then? Do you think you are more addicted to that feeling of that pushing yourself, or the reward when you know you came out on the other end? and you're like, okay, I can do it because I set my mind to it. What? Because you keep going after this. You keep fighting. You keep running triathlons. You keep pushing yourself to death in the training. What I see you do to yourself in training. So you're addicted to the process. There's no stress.
I love the process.
There's no we know that for sure.
The result more.
You know what I mean? Why does your mind keep craving that exact scenario that you keep putting yourself in, where you go to the depths so often? What about it? Is it, like I said, is it what you come out with in the end, or is it the process itself? Like, I just love when I'm exhausted. I don't know how I'm going to win. I just keep pushing. Like, what is it that you're addicted to? What gives you that release?
As much as I'd love to say that, like, I love to finish the race and then go sit on the beach and sip my H2O and relax on a nice sunny beach. Now, fuck that, man. I thrive. I thrive when I know that... when I'm struggling for breath and I know that all I need to do is get one deeper breath in, I live for that.
Okay,
for me,
that's it.
I start my morning breathing. Like, and if I'm not, if I haven't had a heavy breath before 10 o'clock, I'm doing something wrong, basically. Yeah. So I live with breathing and focus on getting the breath in. And so definitely I love being in the moment. And so the marathon is way more enjoyable because I know there's 4 hours basically.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not. Look, my mate Jimmy Deck, who pushes me in my triathlons, he ran past me in my last one up the hill, bro, and then he was like, "I'm gonna see you at the finish line." I'm like, "No way!" And he got me on the hill. I was so devastated that Jimmy, I'm coming for you in 2019, brother. I'm ready. I'm running for you, bro. But basically, I know that 3 hours, that 3.5 hours of that marathon. It's basically just focused breathing, and I'm ready for that. I want that 2.5 hour mark where I'm going like, all right, cool. Doesn't matter how much longer we've got because I will go to 100. So if it was 42 kilometers or 100 kilometers, I'm gonna do it. That 42 or 100 just depends on what preparation I do before. Nothing. I will accomplish anything that you set for me. As a coach, if you told me that I needed to fucking go to 150 kilometers with no fucking shoes on, bro. I would figure out my next 8 to 4 weeks, whatever it is, I would be doing those exact things to make myself ready for that. And so I'm ready for that marathon. That's the bottom line. Is I love being in the marathon. I love being in that marathon because I'm ready for it. And I also love doing shit that I'm not ready for, out of the ordinary. Like, I do love to like be throwing curveballs every now and again. And
then I'll put a point to you. Have a think about this.
Be in the struggle and not sure how to get out of it.
That's exactly what I'm about to say, Ben. I think you are also addicted to not knowing you're going to win.
Yeah, swimming does that for me. Because you can't look up like one ocean swim I did. From Bondi Beach out across the headlands over to Watson's Bay, which is 10-kilometer headland swim. You fucking swim with sharks, bro. And
I would drown if I'm not making it to the end.
Bottom line is you got no idea. You just got to keep fucking sticking at it, man. So I do love being in that fucking mode, man. Of my body is my reliance, and I put my body is going to make my career, and that's what since I was 18 I was well aware that me studying and putting reading textbooks and shit wasn't going to help me with university, so I definitely put a lot more focus on my mind to muscle and
so my understanding is the initial draw comes to I'm going to put myself in a situation where I don't know I can do this. I could drown if I don't make it. I could get knocked out if I don't beat this guy. But I'm gonna prove to myself I can. I'm gonna do everything I can to achieve it, and then I'm gonna show myself I can do it, and then I'm gonna go on to something bigger. Yeah, it's something harder.
It's definitely proven it to myself, man.
That's interesting. That's so related to fighting, and obviously for me this is just the ultra form of competitiveness. What would be worse than fighting a guy who wants to go into the hard rounds? Who wants to be exhausted, right? Why would you want to fight that guy?
You get on a bike, you ride 40 kilometers with me, and then we fight.
No one wants to fight that guy.
No one wants to do that, dude. But like that's where I live.
Yeah.
Like my morning will consist of an aerobic exercise before anyone else is like working out or doing or in the training room. I will be doing my cardio before everybody else on a
man.
fasted stomach as well most of the time, because I love to be moving light, and then I come and say hello to everybody else.
Yeah, man.
And for me, that's a little bit of myself pushing myself and making myself register like, all right,
time to go.
Yeah, like
no, this is
ready.
ultra competitiveness. That's why I think you've ended up with fighting, because like I said, triathlons, don't get me wrong, what a mind bend, but Jesus, combat, you've got the mix of nerves, danger, preparation, martial arts. You know what I mean? We besides competitiveness, we haven't even really delved into like just a passion for martial arts. Being that guy who can fly kick someone. When you were a kid and you'd watch a kung fu movie, but I want to be that dude who's fly kicking the other guys. That's me.
Lethal,
that's what I want to be.
Jumping knees and elbows from on
that's
back.
Me. Yeah,
right?
man.
Like,
that's me. I want to be that dude. And
yeah.
it just ties in really well with the competitiveness, doesn't it? But probably you'll find one has led you to the other. You know what I mean? Like you'll probably find it's a case. You can't want to be a fighter and not be competitive. They're hand in hand. You can't.
Yes.
You can't, because you won't train for very long. You won't spar many rounds. You won't hit the bag like you should when you're on your own. And that's another thing I want to talk about. Yeah. So I find so much of fighting is the internal moments. Particularly running is one thing, which obviously we went over, but hitting the bag, when you do say an hour of bag rounds and you're in the gym by yourself, you have maybe some music on, maybe just with your own thoughts, you have those in-depth conversations with yourself when you do round after round after round. The bag has this kind of like cleansing way of like getting you to sort through your mind. When I get on there, I'm just like, okay, we're gonna get to the bottom of where I'm at right now. We're gonna hit this bag, and almost like you get to know yourself on the heavy bag. And why that is as well, because when you start, you have to do so many rounds on the bag. Think of how many heavy bag rounds you've done in your time.
Right.
And it's like if you're doing anything like gardening or painting or washing the dishes, you have an internal monologue. You're speaking to yourself about your day's things, about your problems, so you do get to know yourself. You do get to untrap parts of your mind, like stretching or meditating and saying, but I noticed the heavy bag, because I've spent so much time on the goddamn thing. Right. I've really gotten to know a lot about myself hitting that bag. And I think that's where the monologue starts, well before the fight. I think in those private times in your training,
the sort of like can I go an extra one?
Yes.
Is that
correct?
Because
why am I doing this? Why am I still going? Why don't I go home and have some lunch or play some games? Why am I going to do 10 more rounds?
The one for me is because I have you hit it 100, right? You've balled out 100 on it, and there's still 30 seconds on the timer.
Yeah.
Are you going to hit the bag lightly again?
Yeah, man.
Are you just
no one's
gonna
around
tap
to push
it?
you. What are you going to do about that 30 seconds? Are you going to go ham?
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And then but then that's when the technical boxing mind of hitting it goes, okay, fuck that shit. Now I just need to hit it until I whip that shot in.
Circle, keep my hands up in my head. Nice. Don't be tired. You know what I mean? That's where you start that, though. That carries on into your fight.
Yeah, it does.
That's where you learn who you are as a fighter, in those private moments where you work with yourself.
When you can see the heavy bag rounds have been... Someone's been doing heavy bag rounds. You can see it. You can see it, dude.
You know when your student's been hitting the heavier bag and when he hasn't. You can tell when he hits the heavy bag if he's been hitting heavy bag. But the mind state, you can tell. Like I said, you learn a lot about yourself in your own self-reflecting times of training.
Nice.
You build your character in those moments. You know what I mean? Like I remember as a kid, so I would, before I went to training, when I got home, so just to give you a bit of a insight. So what I would do every lunchtime in year 12, as soon as the period would go, as soon as it was 12 o'clock for lunch, I'd sprint off to the gym, put my clothes on. I got 45 minutes of solid training in before I got my clothes on, ran back to class sweating, and I'd stuff food in my mouth on my way to class because I didn't get to eat, right? Because I rushed. I'd get home, I'd always be able to get to my home gym to where I had heavy bags set up. I could do my heavy bag work, and then I could go to training. So so I would do my bag stuff before I would go in because it would set me in the mindset to work. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I've done my stuff.
You've already ticked
That's it. I've ticked it off. I know I'm good to go. And then I would go into training to perform. I'd done my work and I'd go into training to roll, to spar, to do what I wanted to because that was my time to export now. And I go there so switched on and focused. I'm like, I know what I'm here to do. You know what I mean? Like I have a coach direct me and guide me, but I'm here to do my work and to export what I've been working on all day, all week, all month. You know what I mean?
And a few hours before.
Right? It's like a warm up for a fight in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're the momentum from this last session is propelling you into this next one. Yep. And if you fucking eating cheeseburgers. Well, guess what? That's gonna fucking propel your session, bro.
And even worse, I'm about to spar guys that, let's say they get there, 5 minutes class, are still doing their hand wraps on. You know, I just ate half an hour ago. You know, I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking pump you.
Right.
I was like, man, I would come here off a training session. I'm ready to beat you, and you know what I mean.
I'm locked in. I know what I need to do. Everything else is fucking bullshit, bro. I find that's with my cardio as well in the morning. It definitely sets me on to whether or not it's a fucking walk. Sometimes it's a 40-minute walk because I don't have the energy to push myself or something like that. But whether or not it's just getting out and moving the body, it definitely sets that template of what I'm. Yeah,
that's it. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not going to show up to the training room not to work, because if I'm why be there if I'm not? You know what I mean? Don't waste a session. Don't be that guy 10 minutes in doing your hand wraps. You're not there to work. Maybe that's their social, maybe it's actually like putting the Muay Thai shorts on when you kick the pads, whatever it be, you're not there to work. And when I have the students that get there 10 minutes, 15 minutes before class, they stretch, they get on a sweat, they skip, they shadow box, I'm like, there you go. That's the guy. Not the person who's laughing, putting on the hand wraps 10 minutes in. That's the person he's not going to get my attention.
Right.
They're not there for the same reason I'm there for, and that's the person inspiring. I'm probably going to crush first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, though? And if you get a room full of those like-minded people, that's where champions are produced. I remember, like, if I would show up, say 20 minutes before class to stretch, and someone's already there stretching, my mind's already like, okay, I'm showing up 30 minutes before class now. No way you're outstretching me, motherfucker. You know
Even the stretching area.
And if you have a group of individuals that are pushing each other like that, it's endless, the potential, right?
Yeah, that environmental sort of like, it forces it now.
It forces it, right? But now you get two competitive guys like you and me who are watching each other going, man, all right, Ben did 3 bag rounds, I'm going to do 4. Or even worse, let's say we do a warm-up and we do sprints. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna beat Ben on that next sprint. If Ben did 3 push-ups, I'm going to do 4. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. We used to do the same warm-up drills in my boxing gym back in Canada. And we used to do these things where we used to punch with the weights for 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. It was pretty fatiguing. And I noticed that in the break, everyone used to put their weights down. So I always used to hold mine. I used to giggle to myself thinking, dickheads putting their weights down, I'm going to overtake them. And I always thought, I'm doing more work than them. And everyone would say, yeah, but like, especially when it's before sparring, people are like, why would you fatigue yourself before sparring? Fatigue yourself before sparring, because you're gonna go in there. Maybe it doesn't work for you the first couple of sessions because you are fatigued, but then you build muscle at a faster rate. You build endurance at a faster rate. So give me 5 sparring sessions. By the 5th one, I'll be bashing you.
Yep.
So I don't mind taking that like beating if I have to get myself further than you. I don't mind if I do extra work before we even get into sparring, because like I said, maybe you get me on the first couple, but I'm going to get to a point where you can't catch me because I'm too fit now. I've done double your work. I held the weights. I punched an extra round when you put them down. When you were chatting, I was skipping. You know what I mean? I watched that when I watched my training partners, because I want to be the best in the room. And then when I'm best in the room, I need to be the best in the city, the best in the state. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't have that ultra competitiveness all the time, then you know what I mean? Like, we all do planks, and the coach is like, all right, everyone down. I'll wait till everyone else goes down, and then I'll go down. I'm like, I'm not planking less than anybody else. No way. Dude. I'm not. How am I going to be better than everyone else? I'm doing less than everybody else.
You can't, dude. You can't have that. And when you go to bed at night, and you're fucking trying to sleep, and you're like, but did I?
Yeah, I'm not having those thoughts.
Of course fucking not, man. Oh, I'm struggling to sleep. Well, fucking guess what, motherfucker? Here's some Joe Rogan life lessons for you, shit. Fucking get up and do some fucking planks, eh?
Yeah, man.
Right. Or just push yourself.
Yeah, man.
Put yourself into a fucking area that makes you struggle a little bit. Take yourself outside of that comfort zone where you thought that you were quitting. But you didn't. You didn't quit.
Well, don't talk to yourself about why am I not winning? Why am I not good enough? Why? Stop that talk. There's really simple answers to why you're not good enough. There's simple answers to why you're not winning.
The things behind the scenes, brother.
Yeah, man.
It is the little things behind the scenes that make the big
It's those
picture.
Moments where you don't drop the weights.
Right.
They're what separates the first and the second.
Yes.
That's what separates the last 10 seconds of the fight. I'm still punching and you're not.
Yeah.
They're those moments where you win the fight well before you get in there. They're those exact moments, man. And I find it funny. I train a group in the morning, 5:30. I've been training them their first 6 months of training. They all train for a fight. Wim to Warrior program works fantastic. But what I noticed is, at the end of the morning session, when you think, man, I really exhaust this guy, there was just one guy who used to come back into the gym when everyone had gone and start hitting the bag. And he lost, I think he lost lost nearly 30 kilos in the 22 weeks. Transformed his life. Amazing.
That's
and
massive.
I used to just, it'd be huge, humongous. And I used to say to him, I'm like, man, aren't you tired? He's like, I don't care. He just look at me and just look me in the eye and go, I don't care. And I remember he was training hard on Thursday, like hard Thursday night. I'm like, we got sparring tomorrow. Do you want to save some of your energy? He's like, no, I'm just going to push through it. I'm like, fuck. And hey. To his credit, so last night was his fight and he won.
Josh Farr, I'm sure of it.
Man, he's won and Aman's the second.
Aman, yeah.
Aman.
Aman was
so Josh and Aman, they were meeting on Sundays and training in the gym, man. They were there to win and they both won their fights. And you know what, man? Fighting doesn't always give the fight to the one who deserves it, but God, man, they put in the work. And it's not saying their opponents didn't.
Yeah.
Man, their opponents trained too. Like,
sure.
I know both of their opponents trained that extra too, but it was just more that moment I had with him in the gym where I was like, man, you're here to win. Right. You're not here to take part. You don't want to be just in this fight to participate. Yeah. You are here to win, man.
Right. That care factor of, like, I don't care. I'm going to fucking show up no matter what.
And fucking win. And 6 months ago, you were overweight, didn't do any sport, terrible health, terrible eating, and man, literally 5.5 months later, you are a completely transformed human being. Wow. It's so funny how there's just that little section in our mind where there's that champion lives, and so many people too scared to access it or not willing to do what it takes to foster it.
Or it's been pushed down a little bit.
With excuses, and I can't make it to training, and my leg kind of hurts, and I'll do more reps next time. That's the fucking worst one. You know what I mean? Like I did 3 push-ups, but I'm tired. Tomorrow I'll do 6. No, you won't. And tomorrow's already tomorrow. You could do 9 tomorrow if you did 6 today. You know what I mean? It's just that difference between first and second. It's why there's only one first place. There's millions of people, and there's one guy who calls himself the champ.
Good point.
So what are you doing to beat out 99% of your competitors? That's a big question.
Right.
Because there's always that guy who you're going to fight who's doing it, right? You're fighting that guy who's not putting down the weights. You're fighting that guy who's doing the extra rounds on a Sunday. You're going to fight that guy one day.
Right.
And he'll come to kill you. And that's where you want to be that guy.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You want to be that guy.
That, for me as a competitor, that 100% propels me. Knowing that there are Ukrainian, Russian, American dudes that are already been doing
training
this.
To the brink, man.
Yeah, and they've sort of had a more time and more people
and exposure
than Australia as well.
Man.
So
100%.
Like with the UFC being in Adelaide today, it's definitely one of the greatest things for Australia, like mixed martial arts. Is like the momentum's kicking off and stuff like that. But it's only the start for Australia. Like we are at the brink.
But the momentum is starting, man. There's no question. Australian MMA, jiu-jitsu, we are really rolling forward. Jesus, we're getting more international results. We have a UFC champion.
Right.
We have a brown belt world champion this year. It's like it's really getting good, and it's there's no reason why it shouldn't. We are such good athletes, Australians. We really are. Look at us at the Olympics. For such a small population, we do so well.
Everything, man. Across the board.
We've got the facilities. We got to get better sometimes with the funding. But, we're well off. So we've got money. Individuals have the money to make a career of it.
Yeah.
It's only getting better. It's a very exciting time for combat sports in Australia, man.
Yes.
It's really just turning up.
Yeah, it is. It is turning up, isn't it?
100%. There's no question it's turning up, man.
It is.
It's exciting for us. It's exciting for us who are so deep in it.
Right.
And have been doing the work well before it was turned up.
Yeah.
We're in this before there was money in fighting.
Yeah.
And
before there was money involved, it was more passion and
it was just passion.
Yeah. We were putting money into it.
Yeah. Non-stop.
I was working to
every
fund
cent.
this.
And I had a job so I could have enough money to pay for my privates and my training and my gear.
Yeah.
That's it, man. Man.
Just work enough so I could, literally just enough so I could fund it. And then spend as much time as possible in the gym.
Spot on. I save up all my money to go overseas for a trip.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it, man. So I can just live it.
Like, what balls, bro.
Yeah,
it's rare, man. It's rare, though.
But, man, again, it depends what you're aiming for. If you're aiming to be the best, then...
You got to push yourself there. That's a good point.
It's 100% dedication. It's 100% commitment. It would be the right word.
Yeah.
You're committing to this completely. Your being, your mind, your time, your work, your effort. There's no other way. There's no 99% champions.
No.
You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and Josh and Aman that we were just talking about before, like they'll probably never go back to the fucking way they were before, bruv.
No way.
Like the way that their life is changed and moved forward now, it will open up so many doors for them, and probably
everything will change for them now.
Yeah, and they'll continue to have great.
And they're building
train better and greater opportunities.
100%. And they're building that addiction to the feeling of the reward. That win for them, they will get addicted to the, I can be something great.
Yeah.
I can have my moment in the spotlight and succeed and be amazing when I was overweight and useless before. You know what I mean?
100.
It's literally that, right?
Yeah.
God, talking this much, get your mouth dry.
Hey. Wow. Easy and good fun, eh?
Man, this has been enjoyable. I think
it has been thoroughly enjoyable, my friend.
What I think I've taken from today is, and I didn't expect it to go this way. Now that's why I love doing this. I went here to find out what makes a fighter think, like what makes them tick. Why are they doing this? Why would you choose fighting when it's so much internal damage, so much risk, so much, like, you know what I mean? There's no secure money. There's all risk of health, of blowing your knee out, of concussion, of whatever it be,
future
right?
job.
But you know what I mean? What would have to drive you? It would have to be the ultimate competitiveness. It would have to be. Besides just that passion for combat, you must love fighting to do it, because you're not going to make a career of fighting unless you love combat. And fuck, there's so many better things you can be doing for money. But that competitiveness would have to be so ingrained in you that if you worked a job and I sat you in an office, you'd sit there and you'd tick. You'd sit there and you'd be like, shit, this isn't good for me. I got to get up and do something.
Fucking smash someone with the keyboard or something.
Man, it's funny. And like I said, you know that from when you're a kid. You do. And like I said, it started from having brothers or being at school and starting things like we talked about before, the school fight club, where we'd meet at lunchtime in the ours was the drama hall or behind the drama building, and we'd punch on because you needed that rawness. Yeah. And because school was just so boring.
It's so boring.
God, it was so boring.
So boring.
But yeah, I really believe. It's funny though, you can say you have it or you don't, but then look at Aman and Josh, who you could argue, or Josh played some sport, Aman did nothing, created it. Maybe they had it and they never fostered it. Maybe everyone has it and they don't foster it. You know what I mean? What an interesting question that would be.
That's the trippy side.
You got to believe that everyone would have it.
Because what have we come from? When you start getting into the crux of that, bro, and you see that what's in our DNA is all survival 100%. Traits.
100%.
The reason that...
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree with you more. We're built to do it.
It's there. The fire is there. You've just got to sometimes build that fire up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess most people that don't, it's easy enough to convince yourself, I don't need to go for that run. I don't mind if I'm a little heavier. I don't mind being second best. I don't mind not competing at all, whatever it be. And that's fine.
If you're happy being second.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And for a lot of people, it's the feeling of I don't want to compete at all because they hate that confrontating feeling, right?
Do you reckon also it's a fear of like putting themselves out there? Like, I think that's another side of it as well. Like,
I'm not saying you have to compete in fighting. I'm not saying you have to be drawn to fighting. I'm not saying you have to... You can't not compete in anything. We're human beings. We step over each other for survival. That's what we do. You know, that's why we are so advanced. Because we're so competitive with each other. We're always trying to find the next medicine. I'm trying to get more money than you. I'm trying to come up with a better technique than you. That's why we're so advanced. That's why we accelerate as a
human
species, as a race. So to say you're not competitive in anything, I think it's that fear of being in a situation where I'm being competitive. I don't like the feeling I get when I'm being competitive. I think that's the crux for a lot of people who don't compete. You know what I mean? I think
I totally understand that.
There's a dishonesty in that way that you don't want to get to the depth of your psyche, and you don't want to find out what happens when you're uncomfortable. But there's also a truth in saying that, I don't like it, I'm not going to do it. There's a truth in that too, of just being honest with yourself, being like, I don't like being confronted.
That honesty as well, and like confronting to it, accepting it, being like, I don't like this, I'm not going to be that anymore. And accepting it and fucking doing something greater else. Like,
yeah, man. For me, I get out of bed for that.
Hey.
I need to know, if I'm cruising at the moment, I need to go put myself somewhere uncomfortable. I need that feeling. I need to be deep in it and I need to overcome it. or man, I got no reason to get up out of bed otherwise.
Yeah.
That's why I hate the nerves of a fight, but I love knowing I'm in camp because I know I've got a reason to be nervous. I'm always a little more switched on in camp.
Pushes you a little bit, right?
I remember a week out before my fight, my friend Michael was like, "Oh, so like, why are you competing again? Like, why do you do it?" I said, "Because right before the fight, I know I'm my best me. I'm my healthiest. I'm my lowest weight. I'm my mentally toughest. I'm the best me." And
you ticked all the boxes, brother.
I ticked all the boxes. At this point in time, I'm the best me I can be, physically, mentally. Why would I not want to be that?
So why wouldn't I do it?
But I can't bring I can't bring it out of myself unless I have a fear. Unless I have something driving me. So if I don't have the fear, after 10 bag rounds, I'll go home. If I have the fear of knowing I have a fight, I'll do 15. At the end of 15, I'll say, Alex, what happens if 20 wins you this fight? Should you be doing 20? Are you really going to stop now? Is this where you lose the fight? So the difference between 10 and 20 bag rounds is my fear of I'm not losing in that moment. I need to be the best I can be. And that's why being competitive always makes me feel like I'm being the best me I can be.
Fuck yeah.
And if I'm not competing, I'm lost. You know what I mean?
Same page out of my book, man.
100%.
Like, I feel like competition makes me strive and look for that little extra edge that other people use steroids for. Like,
yeah.
Like I always I know I need to sleep now because then I will be able to do more and better things tomorrow, or nap now so that I can get at all right, just eat that right food. So that you can perform better.
Man, for the 18 hours you're awake in the day, your mind is fixated on something. You have something to do, if that makes sense. I have something to work towards for 18 hours till I sleep. And even when I go to sleep, it's because I'm working towards resting for my next session. I'm always engaged. Yeah. When I've got nothing to get up for or nothing to go to sleep for, I'll sit up to 1 a.m. in the morning because I've got nothing to get up for, right?
Playing League of Legends.
Playing League of Legends. I need to know I've got training at 5:30. I need to get myself out of bed so I can go to sleep earlier. You know what I mean? I need to get the best out of myself. I need the fear of competition, the stress of like, I'm not losing.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, like I can get better. Yeah. I don't want. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I do believe it's a lifelong pursuit. And I'm not saying competitiveness is so broad. You get guys in business that are the same. You get a shoemaker that might be the best shoemaker. I don't know, for example, maybe it's a shit example, but you get the idea. You don't have to do sport. We're not saying to everyone, you're a pussy if you don't do sport and you don't fight. Nothing to do with that at all. You get like businessmen which sleep 4 hours a night and just run themselves pillar to post, that growing companies, bring out new products, like they're just as amazing. They have that same drive in them. You know what I mean? We're watching their competitors, how much they're working, and they're working harder, or they're doing that extra trip overseas, or whatever it be. This spreads to just successful people in general. It just happens that ours is linked with martial arts because we have that passion in martial arts. But it's just, it comes down to that drive of a human being to be successful. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Not going to sleep because you know if you can put in a little bit extra work that tomorrow is going to be easier.
100%. Or better, right? To get a head start on tomorrow's work.
There you go. Yeah, man. Better. Yeah.
How are you going to be the best at anything if you're not thinking that way?
Take third place then.
That's why though. That's why I love fighting, because let's say I've put in. Let's say we play poker, and I've put in 20 hours to your 1 hour. I put in 20 times your work, but you get the better cards, for example. And it comes down to luck. A card game might have an element of luck. And maybe a fight does too, but not really. If I put in 20 times your work, I'm going to crush you. And I love knowing that. That my hard work's going against yours, so all I have to do is outwork you. I love knowing that I'm bringing my body of work to your body of work, and good luck trying to beat how many bag rounds I did last Saturday.
Because guess what, motherfucker? I know.
Yeah.
Hey? And like, when you're facing off and that referee's standing between you and you know, he knows what he's done, you know what you've done, and then so when they're looking in each other's eyes there's no fucking bullshit.
You know, bro.
I fucking love that moment.
Yeah,
dude.
man. 100.
I weirdly love that intense confrontation where nothing else fucking matters. Yep. Your gloves are signed off. It doesn't matter anything else. This is all it is.
That's it.
And I'm sure that if we did, make it into other areas of life as well, business meetings and stuff like that. It's the same.
Negotiations, stuff like that, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm sent in to negotiate with this guy, contract for my company, and I get it over the line, or I get him on board, or whatever it be. I win this client, or I'm sure it's exactly the same. I get that when...
You know yourself.
Yeah.
You know the true self. Yes. When you're standing up there, brother.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, and if you fucking haven't done the work, man, and you're... Like,
there's nowhere to hide in there. You can't hide behind a team. I can't get subbed out as a midfielder. I can't. It's you or nothing. It's either win or lose. It's that simple. And I think as a coach, when you sit down after the first round of someone's first fight with you, you look into their soul. Yeah. And you see who they are, and it's such an amazing experience. Yeah. And you talk to them, and you see where they're at. And some of them, I can't do this, and others are like, fuck this, I'm going to do it. And I love those people that just like, nah, I'm going to dig. I love those. I have a few of those at the moment that you have that moment of truth. All right, moment of truth. It's 1 round each. Third round, you're exhausted, they're exhausted. Who are you? What are you going to do now this third round? I love that. Love that part of fighting.
Question the manhood,
I love it. I love it. And that's their chance to question themselves. Because like I said,
and improve.
That's it. You'll know everything about yourself after that first fight. If it's a war. You knock that person out in the first minute, maybe you can skip a couple fights. You have a couple fights, easy fights in a row, you might get a different version of who you are. But when you have that person who just comes to fucking kill you, you know who you are when you beat that person. When you overcome that person who trained like you did, who worked like you did, who thinks like you did, and you beat them, that's when you know who you are. 100%, man.
And like, you live for those moments as well, actually, where you meet someone that's
spot on,
an equal.
That's it, man.
That's why competition. You won't give up martial arts. You see a lot of people trying not to swear too much, but you see embracing at the end and like you just fought.
So true.
You just try to kill each other basically, but now you're embracing and you have this love for each other.
I respect you for your body of work too. Right? Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
Yeah. It's a powerful thing, man.
Yeah, man.
Martial arts is a powerful thing, and it's forever growing.
All right, man. That was enjoyable for a first run out the gates.
Bro.
I enjoyed it. Thank you very much,
Podcast pants are on.
Podcast
Hope I did all right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's episode 1 to you. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you very much.